Hey YouTube, Amos Lovecraft here. I just hit 100 on HCSSF in the Runes of Alder League. Um, this league was pretty, it was just awesome. I don't know how else to put it. This is like easily the best patch there's ever been. Um, I started this league kind of really roughly. I died, I think, like 4 or 5 times total. I kept going into stuff blind, and that was just no bueno. It was pretty brutal. The first 2 deaths, though, it was just me tripping up on Arbiter and not understanding how much damage I actually had. I died on a Pathfinder, and then I was doing like a bleed build, and then I died on Chronomancer because I didn't understand that I was converting to crit too early. So I just had C DPS, and then I tried to fight Arbiter, and I got donutted. Um. Anyway, Oracle. I went Spell Totem Spark. Oracle. Uh, this is pretty nutty. I think this build's like it's just it. I learned a lot this league about like incremental damage increases and how to scale spells in a kind of weird way through totems. Let me show you, I guess, just my stats real quick. I went CI, as you can see from Life and ES. Um, have a decent amount of spirit. I'm overcapped on res by a lot, mainly because I have one piece of like one ring giving me all my res. And I'll go over my gear here in a little bit as well, and I'll post a POE2 Ninja link in the description if you want to see the detailed items and whatnot. Um, kind of going through here. Mana regen, I have a Laviangas, so mana regen from Flask. Let's see here. I don't know if there's anything super stun recovery modifier. You'll see that in the passive tree. Let's see if there's anything else. Movement speed, crit damage bonus. If I understand this correctly, I'm basically like when creatures crit me, I'm taking like just the bare minimum amount of like increased damage. Mousing over my items. This wand, I I I thought it was really hard to craft, but it actually turned out to be really easy. Um, I dropped the exceptional 2 socket. I alchemied, and then I annulled down to 1, and then I just greater chaosed until I hit +5. And then once I hit +5, I put on a random prefix, omen away the extra. Well, sorry. First, I went. What is it called? It is called. I don't actually know what it's called off the top of my head. Oh, I don't have one right now. Wait, yeah, I don't have one right now. It's the one that allow. I think it's Astrid's Creativity. First, you socket Astrid's Creativity, then you slam. I don't know what this is called either. So you exalt prefix, a random like just a random affix, but then you remove it with a omen of dextral crystallization with the expedition. I don't think I have one anymore. It's celestial alloy, right? No, celestial alloy is the prefix. I don't know what it's called for the suffix one, but you want to. Okay, sorry. So you start off you chaos spam until you get +5, then you socket Astra's creativity, then you um, just exalt with a omen of sinestral exaltation. Then you use a omen of dextral crystallization with the alloy that gives you the cast speed and elemental damage as extra cold. Then you repeat the same exalt with omen of sinestral exaltation again, but then this time you do sinestral crystallization with the Celestial Alloy. I believe that's what it's called. This one? Yeah, Celestial Alloy. And that gets you the 3 mods that are like kind of critical as a baseline for the wand. So you should have +5, you should have the mana, and then you should have cast speed. If your Exalt Slam is unlucky and you hit like mana, which blocks the max mana +1 level of all spell skills, you'll have to either annul prefix or chaos prefix. Chaos prefix should be cheaper than annul prefix, but it really kind of, I'm in SSF, so it really just kind of depends on what you have at the time. And then that you should get off. Either way, like with chaos is probably, yeah, chaos is better than annulling, because annulling you slam again, you can hit again. But either way, you get rid of the mana and then you should be able to slam this. Then you'll at that point you should have 2 open prefixes and 1 open suffix. I perfect exalt, omen of greater exaltation, and omen of sinestral exaltation my prefixes, and then I desecrate for suffix, because I think the suffixes are more of a shit show and less likely for you to like hit something good. So you would rather desecrate the suffix than the prefix. Prefix, I feel like it's decently likely for you to hit gain, and then it's decently likely for you to hit spell damage. Obviously, you need like I think it's 81 minimum for the +5, but then I think you want 82 if I recall correctly for like the T1 spell damage. Um, so I think 82 is just like a safe. You want an eye level 82 item to like do any of this with. But I got to this position. I personally was very happy with this because the one I had before this. Let me see if I still have it. I might not. I think it's this thing. Yeah, it's this one. It's this one. It's this one right here. I desecrated it at the. No, this is not it. Because when I desecrated it, I got +1 lightning spell. Where is it? I don't know what I. Oh, here it is. Here it is. It's this one. It's this one. So yeah, I desecrated it when I crafted this one that I currently use, and I decided like, hey, I don't need this one anymore, so I'm gonna desecrate it and see what happens. Maybe I'll get another socket. Maybe I'll get something else. I got +1 lightning spell skill. This one is also pretty good in my opinion. The mana regen rate was the downside in terms of like comparison. Um, it's just it's not really necessary for the build, so it's just a dead suffix. But yeah, if I could somehow have gotten rid of the mana regen, this would have been a nutty one as well. But this is what I was using for a good part of the game. But then I moved to this. The crit is just much better. Um, yeah, sorry. So that's my wand. This is my wand. Pretty, in my opinion, this is pretty good. I don't know what trade looks like. This might be terrible wand on trade. I can see it because it's 2/3 crit. Maybe it is waffle. I don't know. Ancestral Tiara. I I'll probably get into it a little bit later about my drop table. I was like keeping track of all my drops this league. Um, I did not get a single Raven Touch shard in I don't know how many runs. I think 100 sim runs, which I don't know if that's a like below average or above average. But yep, this is my Ancestral Tiara. It's pretty nice. I mean, I'm pushing almost 600 ES off of this, and I desecrated this because I was tilted, and this is what I was using before. I was tilted because I couldn't find a Raven Touch shard, and I decided like, okay, if I can't find a Raven Touch shard, I don't really care about quote unquote upgrading my ancestral tiara. So the left one is the one that I was using for a good portion of the game. It gives me rarity and it gives me crit hit chance, which translates to damage and it translates to better drops in terms of the rarity aspect. It was also 2 sockets so from the corrupt. So I thought to myself, okay, I'm at a point in the game where I can kind of give up on drops, but I just need survivability in case I like have a moment of like I don't know loss of concentration, and the extra ES gives me that's like the chance to not kill myself basically. So I decided to ditch the damage, ditch the ancestral tiara, and switch over to this higher ES tiara. 599, pushing 600. This is a very good, in my opinion, very good tiara. Um, yeah, Shrine Scepter. This is one of those things where, or it's not a Shrine Scepter. What am I saying? It's a Stoic Scepter. This is one of those things where I don't realize when I craft this that, oh dear, what am I doing here? Hold on 1 second. I need to, boom. Okay, sorry. Um, this is one of those things where I crafted this at when I was like level 90 or like early 90s, and I didn't realize that this is just going to be my scepter all the way until I hit 100. I basically hit T1 mana, T1 or T2, sorry, T1 hybrid spirit mana, and then T2 spirit, which is the highest I can hit on an 80 base. Um, and then the rest of these mods did not matter to me up until recently when I decided that, like, okay, I'm not going to upgrade from this because I just couldn't hit. This is what I was trying to craft on for the longest time. I fractured. I know this is newbie of me, but I needed to div this before I fractured, but I didn't. I don't use fractures that often, so I didn't know what I was doing. I chaos spammed about 300 regular chaoses and then maybe 50 greater chaoses, but I couldn't hit spirit. So I kind of gave up after that and decided, like, okay, whatever. I'm just gonna stick with this one. And that's when I started whittling to kind of change some of these. This max, I, I think the ideal scepter for this build is hybrid spirit mana, spirit, and then you want max mana for archmage, which I'll get into later. You This line is a dead line. The minion has increased max life, completely useless. Mana regen, not actually useless on the scepter. And then aura skills, you just want aura because whatever generic buff, like whether it's a shrine scepter or a stoic scepter or even I think an omen scepter. I think this like actually I don't know if it's true for omen. I don't know if this matters for omen, but this helps a lot with the free ES in terms of and recharge rate in terms for this. And there's not really any other suffix mods that matter outside of like attributes. But I think it's mana regen. This aura skill has magnitude, the attribute, and then if you're really needing the little bit of spirit, you can go with, I think it's like it's this one, right? Yeah, effective socketed augment items, and you can like increase the spirit that you're gaining from the rabbit idol by a little bit. But based on my math, if you're playing this build or any other like spell totem build, you shouldn't like the extra like tiny little spirit shouldn't be a breakpoint. I mean, if it is, I'm wrong, my bad, but I don't think it should be. Um, but yeah, this is my scepter. Not this is again like I got this back in early 90s, so I didn't realize how hard this was to get or how annoying this was. But I was struggling very hard, like I just couldn't hit spirit like T1 spirit after I got this. So I just got incredibly lucky with this, and I didn't even realize like that. Anyway, moving on. Rings. Let's go with this amulet first. This is a breach amulet with anointed Xerox gifts. Everyone's anointing Xerox gifts. It's too strong, but especially with the recent jewel changes. So it is what it is. But this craft was surprisingly easy. Or I got lucky, really, is really what it is. First, I got this specific absent amulet, um, I think within like 20 breach tree like pulls, so pretty good, I think. Um, I hit spell skill, and I think it was spell skill, and then some other like two other items, two other random things, and then desecrate, and I hit the fracture, so pretty good. There's the 33% there, and then I annulled, and then chaosed, and I only had to spend about 10 chaos to hit T1 Spirit. So that was incredibly lucky based on the calculator that I saw. From there, I slammed a random suffix with a Exalt and a Omen of Dextral Exaltation. I then used Omen of Dextral Crystallization, and I slammed in the Breach Essence of the Breach, to go to Prefix. And then I slammed a bunch of caster quality on here. I used Omen of Catalyzing Exaltation, Omen of Dextral Exaltation, and then a Perfect Exalt. And it hit, I think, all attributes, if I recall correctly. And oh, let me get into this item. This Omen of Catalyzing Exaltation is a utter piece of trash. I've used this Omen 20 times, maybe 30 times this league. I never ever hit the corresponding type of modifier ever. And the only times I ever did it was for cast speed, and lightning, and then all elemental res. So I know for sure that like if there's a chance for it to work, it can only give me one result. So that's how like I'm rationalizing that it's not working. Anyway, then I annulled suffix, um, you know, Omen of Dextral annulment for the suffix, and then I just tried it again, and I think I got lucky that time, and I got cast speed, T1 cast speed. From there, I re-quality all the way back up to 40% with caster modifier, and then I just whittled, and I hit max ES. I think the only things I would have wanted on this caster amulet would be ES or spell damage, but I believe spell damage is actually incredibly unlikely, and then ES is actually decently good odds. So I'm very happy about this. I know it's T4, not T1, but this amulet is, in my opinion, and again, I could be wrong, but HCSSF, this is a crazy amulet in my opinion. Rings. This is all just Genesis tree. Both my rings, well, no, this ring specifically is Genesis tree. T1 cast speed. I believe this is T2 and T2 crit hit, crit spell damage from the Genesis tree. And then, I mean, this ring's nice. It's really nice. I don't recall what I had in prefixes, but I'm pretty sure. I think I had nothing in prefixes because I think I was playing around with the breach quality and stuff, right? So the strategy is it's the same strategy as the amulet. You slam the essence of the breach, you quality up to max, and then you whittle off the essence of breach, and then you can figure out life from there. But yeah, this is a very nice ring in my opinion, especially with Archmage. This is basically gain 4%. I had a bunch of rings this league. I think this is the one. This is the one that I was using before this ring. I generated. I'm not exaggerating. I generated about 600 rings from Genesis Tree in the hopes of hitting +1 spell skill. I did not get a single +1 spell skill, so that was really cool. That was really nice. Yeah. And then this ring, I did not know that there was an update to the Fractured Lake, that these just dropped like very, very commonly from the mobs, from the rares in the map. I did one on a whim just to see if there's anything new about it, and this dropped. And at the time, I was actually kind of struggling with my reses, and then I saw this. With this build, there's not too many prefixes that you can actually use. There's specifically 3, which is mana, spell damage, and then rarity. I think it was like the only. Oh, sorry, lightning damage as well. Lightning damage. So there's 4 mods out of a bunch of like useless mods. Um, so I decided -1 prefix +1 suffix. I could craft this intentionally to be a res ring intentionally by using what I had thought initially of using Omen of Catalyzing Exaltation, going on a certain LE, and then that way it would forces the LE. So like for example, I think when I was doing this, I was going for lightning. So I went for Omen of Catalyzing Exaltation to get lightning res. Then you get all res, because all res and lightning res are the only lightning tags and suffixes. Then you use it for the prefix, and that gives you lightning damage. You can't really do it for spell damage. You could, but I was kind of hurting for sibilance at the time. Um, not anymore, obviously, but I was hurting for sibilance at the time, so I couldn't like do a sibilant thing. Anyway, so what ended up happening was I hit lightning res, and then I hit attributes. I think that's what I hit. I hit all attributes. And then I decided I'm never using this thing again because I always qualityed up to 40%, and for that to still not work, I got tilted. So I just kind of YOLO annulled, like not even a Omen of Dextral annulment to kind of minimize. I just YOLO annulled and I got rid of attribute, and then I tried it. I just tried it again, and I got all these reses. Off the top of my head, I got fire res, all LE res, lightning res, and then I got T1 rarity, and then I whittled T1 rarity to cold res. This is, I think, the sovereign. Um, let's see, where's it at? I think it's called the sovereign alloy. Yeah, sovereign alloy. Right? Yeah, sovereign alloy. So this ring is like a giga res ring. It's I level 80, so I can't hit T1s on the specific reses. So these are essentially max T1s, if you will, for I level 80 on fire res, lightning res, and cold res. I can't hit actual T1 fire res, lightning res, cold res, but this is a giga res ring that kind of really like covers all my reses. If I take this off, you'll see here like I have kind of nothing outside of this ring. You might be thinking, why am I like so overcapped? I'm overcapped because I'm lazy and I want to not have to dodge elemental weakness. And then if I was doing ritual, I want to like be able to just stand in the sap, like the purple smoke, and kind of be okay. So that's why I'm a little overcapped and I'm not like really stressing about it. Robes. These were exceptional Val robes dropped with 25% quality, and at the time I was using. Let's see. I'm glad I actually have like history now to show. I was using this. This robe was a YOLO Omen of Putrefaction, and this was absolutely disgusting when I created this. Absolutely no reason for me to get this for free, and I got this for free from an Omen of Putrefaction. Um, but then I got the exceptional drop, and I decided to kind of throw some currency at it. I believe this is literally just one perfect transmute, one perfect aug, one perfect regal, and then that was it. Like the rest, I figured out with whittles. So I believe I just perfect so basically the first three currency slams I hit T1 ES, T1 hybrid ES, and then T1% ES with just Roger slams. So that was absolutely crazy. And then I just perfect exalted. I believe I hit as suffixes. I perfect exalted twice, like with the omen of greater exaltation. And I think I hit lightning res, cold res, and then like some other random nonsense like reduce poison duration or something. I don't remember what it was. And then I just YOLO'd the 1 in 3 with the Omen of Dextral Crystallization and the Essence of Perfect Seeking, right? I think that's what it's called. Perfect Seeking. Yeah, Perfect Seeking. Knocked off the trash, whatever, affix, and this is like a Giga Vile Robe 166. I went and checked HCSSF because I was curious. I think this is like one of the highest Vile Robes. But yeah, it's not corrupted, and I could quality it 5% more if I really wanted to get crazy. But no, I got 1066, and I was just ecstatic, and I just left it alone. What else? Okay, these. We don't care about these, right? Like, if you know the tech, you know the tech. You go to Vault Temple, you can get on and off the bed repeatedly, re-rolling until you get what you want. These symbols actually matter because if you get a left arm cast speed and then you see like a left arm 25% perfect roll presence area effect, it will actually override cast speed. I learned that this league. I didn't really touch Vault Temple too much, but I learned a lot about Vault Temple this league. Yeah. These gloves. What is there to say about these gloves? Not happy about the decks, but you know, it is what it is. It's T1 ES, all prefixes. I have cast speed and I have crit damage bonus. I think that's Essence of Hysteria off the top of my head. I could be wrong. And the cast speed is just like, what is it? What is it called? Swift Alloy. Swift Alloy, yeah. I slammed a Asterisk Creativity on this. I think this dropped exceptional. Yeah, yeah, of course. What am I saying? Yeah, this dropped exceptional. No. Wait, is it except? No, it's not. It's not exceptional. I'm dumb. I'm dumb. This is not exceptional. I just slammed an Astra's Creativity once I hit the T3. I think this one I actually spent some annuls on. So I perfect slammed, miss. I annulled down to like one or two, slammed perfect augs, and then eventually I hit T1 T1, and then that signaled to me like, okay, I'm gonna try for affix. I think when I perfect regold, I hit some random trash in the suffixes, and then you can kind of get you kind of visualize the craft here, right? You 50-50 with Asterisk Creativity, the suffixes, there is a chance that like when you slam the second uh, crafted modifier, it overrides the first one. You just kind of have to get lucky. It's 50-50. You can make it even a 33% chance to override if you really want to. But yeah, Giga gloves. I have a Color's hunt thing. I was doing the math and I was getting dejected from crafting stuff that just wasn't like working out. So I decided I'm not going to try to craft a damage glove and instead just go for the defensive gloves with like pseudo damage on the bottom. I know that I can get +2 proj and like proj speed and all that good stuff, but I couldn't be bothered. It looked like it was going to be such a nightmare, and I was already hurting for chaoses at the time because I was chaos spamming. What was I chaos spamming? I forget what I was chaos spamming. Oh, I was chaos spamming the Shrine Scepter, and I wasn't hitting. So I was zero chaoses, and I decided I'm not going to try to. Anyway, yeah, pretty good gloves in my opinion. Yeah, we'll get into jewels later. Actually, I'll just show you this jewel because I'm going to forget to show you this jewel if I don't. I was kind of really spread with my catalyst qualities because I wasn't 100% sure which one to catalyst quality after I kind of hit more 5 mod jewels. Jewels aren't anything too crazy at this point. I'm sure like a lot of people already have it figured out. 5 mod jewels, you just if you have the luck or if you have the luxury, you can go for 4 mod jewels, all good mods. I just gambled on 50-50 because the initial I don't even have anymore, right? The initial potent liquid contempt, I think. Yeah, contempt. It's a 50-50. So I just picked one side of the equation, if you will, right? And I just slammed it, hoping for this successful 50-50. This is what I got. The desecration is actually really hard. There's actually so much trash in suffixes, and it always wants me to take like one of the percentage attribute increases. I think out of all my 5 mod jewels, I only have one or two that have. I think it's just one actually that have triple crit, but all the rest have like cast speed or like some other nonsense that's just not as good. Um, but yeah. I'm sure everyone knows how to craft the 5 mod jewels. If you don't know how to craft the 5 mod jewels, um, One Mana Left has a really good succinct video on how to do it. Um, to clarify, because I think he was kind of not 100% sure, you have to double slam exalts before you put in the potent liquid ferocity. And uh, hello? Oh, sorry. My headset closed off. Um, but yeah, One Mana Left has a really succinct video on how to craft these jewels. They're not actually that hard to craft. You just have to get the 50/50, and then you have to hit the one in like I don't, or it's actually two. It's like 2 out of like 20. So they're actually not guaranteed if you want the Giga triple crit. If you're okay with settling, which I had to because I just couldn't keep like Omen of Lighting, and I was out of craniums and Omen of Lights, so I started settling. And these are obviously just not as good with just these anyway. Um, but yeah, boots. I know these are not Sekimas. I I think this dropped with T1 ES percentage and flat. And then I decided, oh, okay, well, screw me trying to hit Sekima boots. I'm just gonna take this and I'm be happy with it. I think this is like a difference of like 20 ES, maybe less, like on like the total ES, because obviously with Sekimas you're just gonna hit max ES, percentage ES, movement speed as well, right? So it's not that huge of a difference besides base. So I looked at the difference between baselines and I thought this is good enough that I'm not going to go for Sekimas and be happy with this. Obviously, we care about spirit. The others just kind of we take what we can get. Int here is actually damage mod, and then cold res is cold res. I got Alder's Legacy. I socketed Legacy of Wanderlust. Legacy PSA in case you don't already know. Legacy of Wanderlust is bugged. It doesn't work on all slows. It really only works on temporal chain slow, chilled ground slow, and I think like the main. I think it's main called main. Maybe it's hinder. It does not work on temporal bubbles. It does not work on the expedition blue sludge. And I don't remember what else it doesn't work on, but this is bugged, and Legacy of Wanderlust doesn't actually like prevent all slows. It's only some slows, which I think is still worth, but it's just really lame. It feels really bad because you're only allowed one Alder's Legacy and it doesn't actually work. Laviangas, just I dived and then I corrupted, trying to get quality, trying to get even for lower reduced. I don't know. I just took the quality. I stopped bothering with it because I didn't want to pick up any more glass blowers. I got tired of picking up glass blowers. Charms, nothing too crazy here. The belt. So this is a little greedy of me. I went for an invoking belt, and I lose a charm slot for this. This is actually kind of a recent slot in. It's got T1 ES. Max life is worthless to me. I don't have a way to get rid of it. It dropped. This is how it spawned. It spawned with spell damage, uh, max life, max ES, cast speed, and then two blank suffixes. So that's T1, T1, T. Well, actually no. I think it's like T3 spell damage, T1 max ES, T2 cast speed, and then I just desecrated and slammed. And I got two random, T2 reses, which I think is the max without 82 belt, if I recall correctly. And then I just expeditioned blazing flux to get what I need to cover my res. Pretty uh okay belt. Okay, I'll take it back. This is an amazing belt for the belt slot if you're not allowed to have a unique belt. obviously Mage Blood is significantly better than this. I cannot hit a Mage Blood for the life of me. And I really tried. I really, really tried. Okay? I did a lot of this. What is this? Right of the Nameless? I did a lot of them. I didn't hit it. It is what it is. It is what it is. Um, okay, these are my items. Let's look at the other items. Namely, it's really just jewels, right? So, Xerox, this is just a 4 mod. It's pretty good. I guess 4 mods are kind of just standard, but like they all should be kind of decently good at this point in the game. Um, just a 4 mod. 4 mod. It looks like it's 5 mod. It's actually a 4 mod. That's desecrated, prefix, hybrid, ES, spell damage. And this is where we get into my 5 mods. You can see here. This is a prefix one actually. I forgot that I had one of a prefix one. LE damage, max ES, magnitude of shock, and crit hit chance. With lightning quality because shock magnitude of shock and LE damage both scale off lightning. I think this gives it like 1% more or something like that. Here's a suffix one: crit hit, crit spell damage up top. It's trying to caster this, quality this up, but I haven't hit any more stuff out of it. The breach. Heart of the Well. This is a perfect rolled Heart of the Well with lightning mod quality. 2 gain lines, crit hit chance. I didn't hit crit damage bonus. That would have been better than cooldown recovery. Cooldown recovery was just what I could take. And then this is my last jewel, which I do have. Okay, I do have 2 jewels with triple crit suffixes. But yeah, the jewels are crazy when you can get them like this. This is just so much damage, like so much damage. And then I guess I'll show the tree. These are the nodes. You, I'll go into the general idea here later. There is a weapon swap point here. It's kind of hard to see with coloration. This is weapon swapped. This is weapon swapped. This is weapon swapped. The green's easier to see, but the weapon set one is kind of harder to see. Crit. I'll go over into why I took calculated hunter in a little bit. I'm not a lot of people have take it, but I'm pretty sure it's worth. The tree looks pretty. If you've seen any Oracle spell totem build, this should seem pretty like in line, if you will, with everything. There might be some differences in terms of like personal preferences where I've maybe deviated, but just showing you the tree. I know a lot of spell totem oracles are going either arc or grim pillars. I tried both. I did not like Grim Pillars because it was blocking my path, which I thought was like that's just terrible in my opinion. And then it required 2 buttons. Like it minimum required 2 buttons because you do the Grim Pillar and then you needed to use the second spell, whether it's Spark or what is it, Entangle, to break or explode the ice crystals. So it was minimum 2 builds, and it was kind of clunky in my opinion. This is weapon set 1 duration, weapon set 1 prod speed, and this is weapon set 2 here for remnants. This is the tree, and I guess now is as good as time as any to kind of. Oh, let's look at my skill jumps actually. This is from the wand. This is from the shrine scepter. I have mana regen, and you'll see why here when we get to spell totem. But I have mana regen on my archmage. I just have this here because I was testing stuff, and I really should get rid of it. It's probably just confusing. Let me just do this. I have clarity 2, again, more mana regen. You'll see why when we get to spell totems, but I have 80% mana regen here, and then I have mysticism 1. I don't know if I'm actually on full ES for majority of mapping. I'm probably not, but like let's just say I am 50% of the map, then this is effectively a 15% increased spell damage buff, and I have nothing else to do with 15 spirit. You'll if you do the math here, it's like I have exactly enough, right? 0. I have perfect for 4. Um, and I know I can roll the scepter a little bit to get a little bit more spirit, but I can't do anything with like 3 extra spirit. So I'm my OCDness. I'd rather see 0 here than 3. Archmage, Clarity 1, Clarity 2, Mysticism 1. Spell Totem, uh, I corrupted this. I don't want to. Well, let's take it out. Let's find out because I'm pretty sure I did it, but I don't know for a fact. No, okay, I don't think I did it. I think I was trying to corrupt this with -1 levels because I don't want it to go higher level and increase mana cost. And the, there's no benefit because of the Oracle Ascendancy to having more res and more life on your totem. Okay, maybe that's not the right way to put it. There is benefit, but it's so like minuscule that you might as well um, not have. Just save yourself the mana cost. Save yourself the mana cost. I guess it's just mana cost. It's late. I'm a little tired. Uh, but yeah, so I was trying to get -1, but I guess I didn't hit negative or -1, so I just kind of left it alone. It's probably fine. I think at the time I didn't have that many perfects. Spark. This is a double corrupted spark with increased proj speed and +1 level. I had to burn a lot of sparks to get the +1 skill level, and then I learned this league that the quality only goes up to 23%, not 24%. So I then wasted some time trying to get a like either a 24% or +1 before I double vaulted, which was that's on me. I just didn't know at the time, but I learned. Um, I hit the twice corrupt first try. Incredibly lucky there. I recognize that because I it just the odds of me doing nothing or like destroying it. Actually, I don't know if it can do nothing, but the odds of me destroying it or hitting 21, 22 were just really high as well. So I recognize I'm very lucky about that aspect. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna drink some water. I'm gonna mute. Okay, next here is urgent totems. I think this is kind of this is where the issue with spell totem begins. I say issue, it's not really an issue, but you kind of have to take urgent totems 3. You just have to. So that's 2 slots gone out of the 5 socket, right? I think urgent totem 3 is just too good for what it's offering. And then here's where we can kind of play with stuff. So when you play this build before you get Rockiatas, this build kind of sucks. I don't know how else to put it. It just kind of sucks. Before Rockiatas, you can't use an Absent Amulet. You have to use, let's see, you have to use a Solar Amulet. I say have to. You don't have to, but the quality of life difference between using the Solar Amulet versus not using it, quite noticeable. You go around running around the maps having to press like 5 buttons versus like 2, but you also lose a lot of power. That's just me being a lazy, you know, piece of shit. But Rockiata is really, it's a non-negotiator. You have to have Rockiatas, in my opinion. Which also like is where I would say like that is the downside to this build. If you're in HC SSF or SSF in general, you're kind of gate kept by Rockiatas, and I was gate kept this league for a very long time until I got Rockiatas, and then my power just jumped like shot through the roof after I got Rockiatas. So that means 3 of the slots are kind of taken. So then you have two slots, and these are the two slots where I think there's like an expression, if you will, of quality of life versus straight damage. I think notable options for these two slots. Let me grab both of them here. Where is it? Here it is. It's right here. Yes, it's these two. I don't think there's anything else. Well, I guess there's this one as well, actually. Is there anything else here? I think that's it. I think it's just those three. Okay, I'm going to assume that I'm correct about this. Okay, so for these two slots, you have two options. For the speed, for the Proj speed, Spark scales incredibly well with Proj speed if you have Pierce. That is my opinion on that on Spark. Because what is the point of speed if it, as soon as it hits the like a target, it disappears, right? Because it can't pierce normally. So Proj speed, scaling Proj speed is incredibly important if you have Pierce. If you don't have Pierce, in my opinion, Proj speed priority drops off drastically. Valenta's propulsion with all my cast speed for my gear gives my spark like an incredibly fast, and I'll show you here. I guess I'll show baseline, right? So Proj speed 57 propulsion, pretty much 200 Proj speed, right? And then I'll show you Proj acceleration 3, 120. So that's about 80% difference, okay? And I played with both. I played with both to test it. If I run Valenta's propulsion, I need to run Pierce. Otherwise, there's really no point to having fast Proj speed, in my opinion, because once they hit the target, they disappear. So I might as well just have a slower Proj speed and not have it pierce, and then just have them eventually touch. Or go slow enough in front of me. And don't get me wrong, they still go fast. The Prajas still go fast. And I can show you here, actually, I don't know, I think I completed this map, so I don't know if there's anything there for me to show you yet. Maybe I can run the Kima or something to show the difference. I need to include some gameplay. Maybe I'll do it at the end here. I'll leave it alone for now, and I'll do it at the end. So going on to this, I think if you want to run Valenta's propulsion, you have to run Pierce 3. Otherwise, what's the point to having all this extra Proj speed? Right? That's my idea. That's my conceptual understanding of Proj speed and how it benefits this build. There's a weird thing, and I don't know if it's because I don't have enough duration, where if I slam my spell totems, the spark goes out, and I run like as fast as I can away from the spell totem, I see the sparks kind of end at a certain radius from the spell totem. They just can't ever go past that radius. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's the best way for me to describe it. There's a radius limit for the sparks to go away from the spell totem. They will never pass that radius. Because of that also, Proj speed matters less because it can't clear 2 screens away. It can only clear one, like to the edge of your first screen or 1 screen away. So I think Valenta's propulsion, if you want to run it, you have to run it with Pierce. Otherwise, I think it's diminishing returns with the Proj speed. Which is why I settled on Proj acceleration 3, because it gives me Proj speed, and it also gives me damage. And I really liked having damage this league. So because I'm opting for Proj acceleration 3, do I care about Pierce? Now, I used Pierce for a good part of my character leveling. It was until like I think I was like 98, 99 even, that I decided, okay, I think I can give up Pierce, which is a quality of life support. It doesn't do damage, it just gives you a quality of life because you can flood an area with sparks. But then I decided, okay, if I'm in a concentrated area, I think I will generate enough sparks by the spell totems casting themselves without needing the reduced damage lingering sparks. So then that's when I just had to decide between a damage support, which is either Esh's Prowess or Zenith 2. The math here is pretty simple. Zenith 2 is a multiplier, right? It's 30% more, right? So it's Zenith 2. There is some weird math where if I hit a Raven Touch Shard, I was going to anoint Lightning Rod, and I was going to farm for a Heart of the Well Diamond with 25% chance for lightning damage to be lucky, meaning basically I would have a summation of 55% chance for lightning damage to be lucky, which then pushed Esh's prowess ahead of Zenith 2, if I recall correctly. It, it was really close. It might be that Esh's prowess is actually still worse, which is why I never did it. Actually, I think that's what it was. I would have to hit a Raven Touch Shard. I would have to hit the Heart of the Well, and it was still worse. I take it back. I take it back. I think Escher's power was still worse. Zenith 2, the most damage, you can get, and all you need to do is just have more mana, which is why I have Mana Regen slotted in, and why I was saying earlier that Mana Regen on the Scepter suffix is actually potentially BIS. It helps. I can spam. My mana is pretty much always full. Always full. Frostbomb. So this is really the only tech that I have for this build. Um, if you're aware, spell totems can obtain charges, so you want to have selfless remnants, so you can give the Frostbomb remnant to the spell totems, and then the spell totems will shoot empowered sparks. So I have short fuse too, because I don't actually care about the exposure from Frostbomb. In fact, I don't want exposure from Frostbomb. If you notice here, I have a level 2 Frostbomb with a -1 from corruption. Intentional. I don't want exposure to apply to any of the mobs or monsters that I interact with because I have a Rakiatas. If I apply explosion to them, I'm just reducing my Rakiatas efficiency and like bonus damage multiplier. So if you get a low enough level Frostbomb, it's level capped, right? You cannot apply exposure to enemies higher than level 39. Meaning if I'm level 79 or 80 maps or zones, I can never apply exposure to them, which means that I have now generated a like a button that only generates infusions, cold infusions, and that is it. It does nothing else. I guess it does like 1,000 damage. But I don't want exposure. I intentionally have a very low level gem here. I don't want exposure. Short fuse so that the frostbomb explodes very quickly. I don't want if it took the whole time. This would be just it's so slow. It's so slow. Harmonic remnants. Off chance that I create two. Well, I'm collecting them immediately, but on the off chance I can collect two, and I can collect the remnants from further away. Selfless remnants. Cooldown recovery too, so that I can spam this more, right? Because I'm just trying to generate charges. All this is doing is generating charges for my spell totem spark, and then efficiency too, because I really there's nothing else besides efficiency 2 to slot here. All you're trying to do is just keep the mana cost low because this is the only other spell that you would spam besides from spell totem, and this actually causes a decent amount of mana with archmage on, so efficiency helps. Convalescence, if you're playing an ES build, you probably have convalescence. Nothing crazy here. Rapid casting, second wind, cooldown recovery, efficiency 2. I had increased duration there, but I no longer have the strength, so it's not worth it for me. If you check the mana, oh, actually, I don't know what I did to swap up the mana, but you have it. I used to have exactly 14. Oh, I leveled, that's why. I used to have exactly 1400. If I put in a strength for a passive skill, right? If I socketed a passive like strength, I would end up dipping below, and then Archmage, right? Archmage, you want to have like each 100 threshold is very important. So if I stayed at 14, I would get the 4%, and so I rationalized that I don't press this enough, and even if I do press it, the existing duration is long enough that it's fine. 6.89 seconds. So yeah, this is like the core. Blink, I don't actually use it. I have it slotted here because this league I've gotten trapped within terrain very often, and this lets me kind of just, get out of that situation. this is just a pure utility. I don't actually use this that often. I only use it when I get stuck in terrain. Um, Passive skill tree. Kind of touched on it earlier. The weapon sets, really, all I'm doing with weapon set points is to create additional remnants for my frost bomb. If you see here, frost bomb is only turned on for weapon set 2. Spell totems turned on for weapon set 1. Um, and let me see. I have cooldown recovery rate because I want to spam frost bombs. I want to be able to spam a lot of frost bombs. And this is a cooldown recovery and movement speed. And then this is presence because I need the presence to be able to collect the remnant and apply it to my spell totems. And this lets me like get away. I can be further away, and it will still go to the totems. I kind of have to play with it a little bit, but I have to be in like the right weapon set, right? But yeah, that's the skill tree. Um, Early on in campaign, I leveled with plant, just plant, just like raw plant until I hit spell totems. And as soon as I hit spell totems, I immediately switched over, and it was very powerful. Like you're good to go as soon as you get spell totems. Even with the 2 socket spell totems, like it's good enough. Yeah, yeah. I would look for any starter, like level starter guide for plants early on, but it's kind of self-playing. Um, what else? What else? Okay, I'm not playing Flame Wall for a couple reasons. My mana used to be like around 800 before I got, some of the more recent like in-game gear. Flame Wall really like strongly benefits from Archmage, and if you don't have like high Archmage, Flame Wall actually doesn't do that much, and it causes a lot of visual clutter on the screen. I tried Flame Wall for a good bit. I got rid of it because one, it was creating too much clutter on the screen, and I was potentially gonna like walk into a hazard or kill myself because I couldn't see what was happening on the screen. Two, it really wasn't doing that much extra damage. It is gonna do extra damage if you really want like that extra DPS. I think it's something like if I used it or if I socketed and I use it as a mapping, it's maybe like a 10% damage amp. Again, if you have more substantial Archmage, Flame Wall becomes that much better. I've seen Archmage Flame Wall generate like I don't know, like I would say a 30% like more damage buff, but for me at the mana level I was, and to kind of prevent screen clutter, I decided I'm not going to use Flame Wall. It wasn't worth it for me. Okay, that's kind of the character. Trying to think if there's um, anything to go over on the. I think that's really it for the character. I'm gonna go over kind of the league mechanics, league components, league stuff. Vol Temple. This will be a good way to look at it, I guess. Vol Temple. Um, Surprisingly, I'm not a huge fan of Vol Temple. I never did a lot of it last league. Surprisingly easy to understand, to conceptualize after you do it a little bit, and surprisingly easy to farm. Um, I got lucky. I have this thingy. Where is it at? This thingy, right? It seems kind of rare. I have this thingy. Um, I have I have a bunch of vol currency. Um, yeah, Vol Temple. I think it's actually fine exactly the way it is right now. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Abyss. I think Abyss is fine. I take it back. I take it back. The breakdancing spinning eels need to go. The smoke bombs, I think they're fine. The eels have got to go. They're incredibly annoying and just not fun to interact with in any way. I think the fact that Amanamu, Amanamu giving excess echoes and lights is kind of lame. I don't understand why this just gets more Omen of Lights and Omen of Abyssal Echoes. I kind of feel like what's the point of these other two factions then? And you might be asking why I have Olamon here selected. I learned very recently from Everseen that Olamon, the coffers, actually potentially drop preserved craniums. It's a very, very low rate. I've only gotten one out of like 200 since I've started doing this, but it's higher odds than a Manamu, in my opinion. Excuse me. Um, Oh, maybe I should just be here. Anyway, Vault Temple, I think is fine the way it is. Like literally exactly the way it is right now. I think it's perfectly fine. I don't know anything about snakes. I play in SSF. I don't care about like farming currency or anything like that. But as far as I'm aware, I think this is fine. It was easy enough for me to farm for the Vault Temple currency that I wanted to use. So I think Vault Temple's fine. Expedition. I really, really did not touch too much Expedition. In my opinion, Expedition this league was a buggy mess. There's so many times where a mob was just not killable, and I had to Alt F4 or just pause the game or like leave the map, and it's bricked because they're just chasing me down with 200 modifiers. I think this is just a buggy mess. Tried my best to stay away from it if I could. I mean, obviously you have to go there sometimes to farm some stuff, just because it offered such good like crafting. Um, Breach. Oh my god. I did so much breach this league. So much breach. Even more than like the last two breach. Like, I feel like breach has been the dominant like league mechanic in my opinion for XP. But now this league, it's like there's XP and like actual like substantial. Sorry, the headset died again. Um, I think the normal breaches, the monsters need to do what they do in the stronghold and in the hive fortress. The monsters should be running towards the center. Why do I have to go to the perimeter and then run around the perimeter? I don't get that. And then vice versa, the strongholds and the hive fortresses. Why am I playing turret defense? It's so boring. And I'm playing spell totems and I'm telling you it's boring. uh, I think they need to do something. I hope they optimize breach a little bit more. I feel like it's just so it's such a weird mess. I have such little hive blood and I have such little womb gifts, either one at a time or both at the same time. I'm lacking something here. Zesh, I think it's like for SSF it's like impossible to farm Zesh. One, you have to travel like very far to get to breach positions, and then it's just one, right? And then not only that, I think it was Esh and it was Tool, right? I think that's their names. It's bugged. Sometimes when you go in and you fight them, you can't finish the fight. They're just like locked in an animation. I've fought Zesh this league like I don't know, like less like 10 times, maybe less. And then not only that, you have to travel aggressively in order to get these breach things, like the breach stones. Not only that, why do breach stones cost hive blood? It's like uh, I have to invest hive blood into getting access to breach content, and then not only that, the net positive there is like only like a couple thousand. So it's just like extra layers of like minutia. I don't know how else to put it. I I think they I think there needs to be some love here. I don't know how else to put it. I love the Genesis tree. I actually spent like so much time doing the math on like affixes and then if I'm excluding affixes, what the weighting is on the new generations for like specifically in my case caster modifiers and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of the Genesis tree. I'm a big fan of the Genesis tree. I I wish they could do something different about everything else outside of the Genesis tree. I just think there needs to be something else done there. Sim. You might have noticed at this point how I have 44 passive skill points. I'm about to socket them in now that I've beat the game. But, and I guess now's a good time as any to touch on some of these nodes. I guess it's only on this side, isn't it? Why does this node exist? Either let me get rid of nodes, or I don't know, make this an option. I benefit 0 from ancient liquid emotions. And from my understanding, and from my testing on my other characters that died, and I played a little bit in SSF, if I socket this, I just don't get I don't get these anymore. Is my understanding. I just get less of these. And now don't get me wrong, these are worthless as well. But I'm just if these were not worthless, why, like hypothetically, if they had value of some sort, why am I excluding like these resources for myself by getting these other resources that are just completely useless to me? So that's why I don't have this node selected. Sim, Deli, it's fine. I think that's great, honestly. I'm just salty I didn't get voices this league, and I'm salty I didn't get a single Raven Touch shard. I did get 4 because I have one here as well, I think. Where's it at? I got 4 split personalities. First one I got Templar starting point. I'm playing Oracle. Sick. Um, then I got Warrior, Sorceress. There's a reason why I'm not using Sorceress. I end up losing damage and I end up losing survivability. Well, actually, specifically, just I end up losing damage if I socket this. Um, although it might be worth it now that I'm 100. Maybe I can get that extra point to get an extra. No, actually, it's still not worth it. Anyway, um, Sim. I have a bunch of jewels from Sim, all worthless. I think they need to do something with the emotions because these are worthless, right? Like, unless there's some alternative use case that I'm not aware of, these are just absolutely useless once you get into the end game. Because once you get to the end game, you would much rather have 5 mod crafted potent emotion jewels than any diluted, like any of these. So I think they need to come up with something because this is completely worthless. Um, but outside of that, I think Sim is in like an amazing spot. I think again, if I could get voices, I would be singing praise here, but I didn't get voices. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Ritual. This Mysterious Rites early game before I hit like early late game before I like hit some of my damage like really like big damage items. The Queen's Ritual was just a hard gate for me. It was not easy for me to kill the Queen consistently before she got too many wisps. This is kind of like a weird thing where like one, the idols are completely useless to a lot of builds. Two, early on, if you take this node either by accident or because you don't know, the queen kind of like hurts, and I almost like I had to leave the ritual a lot of times because I was like, oh, okay, the queen just almost one shot me because she's got like a couple of wisps on her. This is a weird node. I don't understand like why I can't remove or like toggle off nodes. Ritual as a whole, it's great. It's good. I didn't get a mage blood from it, but it's good. Like I recognize that. I think Ritual is just in a good place. The change for uniques, I got so many. I want to say I maybe had like 50 total, of course, like total of 50 whittlings this league, which allowed me to save a lot of my gear and all these other omens. I think Ritual's in a really good spot. Um, the skill trees, well, that's all the in-game mechanics, I think. Yeah, I think that's all the in-game mechanics. Um, I hate this RP bullshit where I have to like, so I have like 30 feathers, right? Or, after I like do my group sim runs. Why do I have to do this RP walk down here every time? And then once I go in, I have to do the RP walk over to like the little kid and the dog. Why do I have to do that every time? Why? Why? Can we just not do that? Same for breach. Why do I have to walk all the way up here, up here, over here, all the way over here, socket this, and then I have to go through the whole normal like breach like path thing. And then from there I can't even go back to the hideout. I come here and then I have to go here to the hideout. I think there's just so much like weird friction with the in-game content, and the Well of Souls is actually like the best example of a good, concise boss fight. Like I can just come here and I can just go in and I'm fighting the boss. Well, I don't have to like this is sure there's still a little bit of RP walking here, but this is not as like egregious as the Withering Willow or Zesh. Like those two are just crazy. Um, yeah. The skill tree over here. This I don't understand this. This isn't really a like a passive skill tree outside of these individual like option nodes, which in my opinion these are not consequential enough to call this a skill tree. If you can get all the points right from just playing the game, you're guaranteed to get 100% of these skill points, and there's no opportunity costs to picking any of these. What's the point of this? Why not just like have this as a baseline? Is my question. Because I guess I just don't understand. Like, there's nothing unique about this that you can really do different than someone else because there's no opportunity cost to just taking everything. Sure, like I understand like there's like some minutia differences, like the tiniest differences, like when it comes down to like, oh, I'm a rogue exile farmer versus a summoning circle farmer. But generally speaking, I feel like there's not any meaningful decision to be made up here. Like these are all kind of just like if there was a heat map, probably 99% of people have the same Atlas skills, right? Which is kind of like, okay, then it's not really a passive skill tree, right? There's no meaningful decisions. There's no like, let's say if I wanted to farm something specific, I can't really opt into farming anything like super specifically. Maybe inside the essences themselves, right? You can farm like enhancement over everything else. But like, I don't know. It just didn't seem like there was this just wasn't what I guess wanted out of this. I wanted something a little bit different, a little bit more. I don't know. I just wanted something a little bit more consequential. The Atlas Masters, I I also didn't like how these were implemented because with Expedition, these two masters you can never take these two masters with Expedition. You kind of have to take Jado's because of Eastern knowledge, right? So that kind of made this weird because then Jado is kind of like useless or not useless. He was mandatory for Expedition, but then the other ones are kind of just whatever. Hilda, or sorry, Doriani, it became for me like a must-have when I'm doing bossing. When I was doing Pinnacle bosses for the additional like a unique drop, right? Hilda, wait, where is it? Is it Hilda or is it? I don't remember now. I think is it Doriani? Wait, is it Jado? It's Jado. When I was trying to get my Racchiatas, Jado was mandatory. I had to have this. So it's just like it's weird because Doriani and Hilda have a really weird spot. Hilda for me became relevant only when I was 99 pushing, right? Because this is the optimal way to get XP. Versus Jado was RNG for the 40%. Where's it at? Here, right here. It's RNG. And then Doriani, I used Doriani when I fought Pinnacle bosses, specifically when I wasn't farming Lineage Gems, so I can get the extra uniques, and for Irradiated, and for Cleansed or Corrupted when I was trying to farm Fracturing Orbs. So it's just weird. They're all kind of like you have to have them. If I want to run 3 Breach, right, for example, because I'm trying to farm Hive Blood, I have to have Doriani, because otherwise I'm gonna have 79 zones. I don't know. It's just really weird, like these masters. Again, like these actually have meaningful decisions, but they're so like hard locked into certain content that it's almost like okay, you don't really have a decision because Expedition you have to have Jado. For I guess Abyss, I guess if you're trying to do triple Abyss, you have to have Doriani, right? If you're trying to do triple anything, you have to have Doriani. And maybe I'm just not like I'm not thinking about it correctly, and I don't understand the game enough. But this seems weird to me as well. I think there could be a little bit more option. Um, yeah, I don't really know. I thought the what is this called? I forgot. The third edict, like this whole this whole storyline. I thought this was cool. I like this. I really like this thing. This was awesome. This was cool. That like now if you hit rank 1 in EXP, you get to kind of become eternalized in a way. I thought this was really cool. I already got the mode. I'm just coming here. I don't know. I'm just doing random stuff now. I've been yapping for an hour. I probably need to wrap this up. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to talk. I'm sure there's. I just love to talk about this game. I'm sure there's something else that I haven't talked about or haven't touched on. Um, oh, I know. Arbiter, the first Arbiter. What is it called? The Burning Monolith Arbiter, Arbiter of Ash, Arbiter of Ash. That's what it is. I think, I think he's a little too feast or famine. The one shots killed me 2 times this league. First one, Arbiter body blocked me, and I got killed by Donut. Second time, the donuts were stacked on top of each other. I got killed by Donut again. I died 2 times to Arbiter this league. Maybe that's why, but I just think that his one kill mechanics are kind of like I don't know. Is there any other boss like that where it's just like you have to nail this? If you sprint by accident or roll by accident, you're just dead. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm just bad, but I feel like there's something to be done about that. Um, okay, I've yapped long enough, I think. Overall, I would rate this league 10 out of 10. Like I've only played this game for so long, so that's probably not fair. And I've never touched PoE 1, so don't I don't care about PoE 1. But this league, out of all the PoE 2 leagues, 10 out of 10. And yeah, okay. I think I'm gonna go touch some grass. And this league I didn't try to rush for level 100, and it felt great. I got to just play. I got to try to farm. I mean, obviously my farm was kind of ass. I didn't hit any of the good stuff. I didn't hit Mage Blood. I didn't hit Voices. I didn't hit +1 Spell Ring. I didn't hit any Raven Touch shards. Whatever. I still had fun, and I still hit some Giga items in my opinion. But I'm trying to see if there's anything that I have 4 Astromantises. They're worth nothing. Cool. I have 2 Tabula Rasas. Worth nothing to me. I hit 3 Headhunters this league. One of the Headhunters was on a character that died. So cool. I have a Headhunter here. Where's it at? Where's my dump? Here. Cool. So I have 3 Headhunters this league. I didn't use Headhunter because I'm scared as hell. This character is not that squishy. I think with an ES character, if you have Blasphemy, then I think you feel pretty tanky. Without Blasphemy, I was so scared of Shroudwalker. I did not equip Headhunter. Not for me. Oh, I crafted this ring. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I can't use it, or I didn't use it, so it doesn't really matter. I'm trying to think if there's anything worth showing off here, really. 600 rings, no hit, whatever. It happens. It happens. Okay. To summarize this league, I think the game's heading in a great place. Um, there's a bunch for me to still learn and to kind of improve on. I learned a lot about damage this league. The last couple leagues I've played a build where I'm just copying someone else's build, so I don't really have to worry about damage. If I don't know if that's the right way to put it, because they figured it out for me, and then I can just kind of hit the like PowerPoints as they've kind of like itemized. This league I played like my own builds, and I became painfully aware of how little I understood damage and like damage charting. I used to think that you needed to be around 30,000, um, like on the tooltip DPS for like a healthy feeling mapping, speed and experience. I've learned this league that no, that's not true at all. You need to be closer to like 50, and then it's like contextual based because it depends on um, like what skill you're using and how it interacts. I still have much to learn about this game. Love this game. Um, I think that's it for me this league in terms of like pushing. I might start another character for fun. I might. I don't know if I want to continue playing this character until I hit voices, until I hit fucking Mage Blood. I'm just so salty. I've done so many fucking rights, and it's just maybe it's not that many rights. It feels like a lot of rights. I don't know. Done a lot of Sims. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, um, I have two of these. Oh no, I'm full. That's why. I'm literally full. But yeah, thank you for listening to me yap. And if you've watched any of this, if you watched all the way to the end, holy. But yeah, this league was awesome. Thank you very much. Bye.